Welcome back to Vintage Story 1.18.0. I'm still on Pre3. There are so many different changes in this update, and a lot of them are very interesting game changes, and many of them surround death. So let's talk about death and damage. And we might talk about drifters as well. So first of all, there is a new waypoint created when you die. So I need to die to see if this works. And oh, a rift. That should spawn something. Right, I'm going to jump off here, though it's not terribly high. I could jump off a bit further up actually. Let's do that. See if I can damage myself and then see if I can get some drifters to spawn in and kill me. It's the sort of thing you don't think you're going to say. Right, let's jump down here first of all. Right, that rift should certainly spawn something nasty if we go close to it. So here we go. Right, there's some damage. Are you spawning anything? No. Right, we'll just have to keep jumping off the building until we die. Who would have thought it's so difficult to kill yourself when you're not trying? I seem to kill myself in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways. As soon as I try to kill myself, are the drifters down there? There are not. It becomes quite difficult. Now, one of the reasons that there may not be drifters spawning down there is the light level. Drifters used to spawn at light level 9. That has now been reduced to level 7, and that's quite a big difference. And it does mean that they are a little less likely to spawn. That I find helpful. Right, let's just jump off here and see if we can. Yep, a few more times of this. We should do enough damage to kill ourselves. I did. Alright. Actually, I could starve to death as well. I think it's faster to keep jumping off tall buildings. Here we go. And also, I might get a death marker if I jump. Yeah, that was a good one. We'll jump over here. I'm trying to get a death marker, which I believe exists. So let's just carry on doing this until we die. Oh dear. The things you do to test, or I do, to test out new things. Yeah, that looks a good deep one. Maybe one more? Two more? My building is actually surrounded. I used to be able to, I had a very tall building one where I could just jump off the top. But this one, I've got lower regions surrounding it all, and I'm not sure whether a death marker will be okay on a building. One more for luck. And then let's see if we die and if we get a death marker on the map. And it's going to be incredibly useful if we have a death marker, but only the last death is shown. So if you're going through one of those times where you're dying and dying and dying and all the time trying to retrieve your stuff, I mean, you've still got the place marked, but no, I'm still not dead. Gosh, I'm a resilient soul. I should have taken my armor off, perhaps. I never thought of that. Right, let's go. One more time. Here we are. Yeah, we're shaking. My legs are shaking. I'm definitely in a bad condition. Ooh, now, looking at this, right, what I'm looking for is whether there's any indication how many deaths I've used. No. Respawn. Now I'm in I'm in a totally different place, which is fine. Let's take a teleporter back And some of you asked whether these teleporters are a mod. They are not. They are part of the vanilla game. And I do have instructions on how to use them. Now, let's go upstairs out of all this clutter where you can see clearly. And yes, already I can see I have a death marker. Look, guys, look. Let's get the map up. Look at this. You died here. Wow. That's fantastic. So in a whole map, you can look for this little symbol. That is so useful. Now, I actually keep my inventory on death here, so it's not that big a deal. And there's nothing on the ground that indicates it. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be stuck with that. Oh, I can probably delete it. Let's see if we can delete that. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck with a... Can I delete this? You died here. Delete. Yes, we can delete it. Excellent. So we now have a death marker. Brilliant. So we get death waypoints. I have mentioned that the drifters now spawn at it takes a lower light level for them to spawn, which is very helpful. But let's talk about respawning, because I have got my spawn set by a temporal gear over at my first base, mostly because that's where I fight drifters during temporal storms. However, in the game notes, there is a little thing tucked in that says that respawn location set by temporal gears are limited to 20 uses. So people like me that die a lot, we are going to have to find lots and lots of temporal gears. Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, I've only got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And I'm going to find that there's going to be a bit of tension, I think, between mending translocators and also being able to keep mending your respawn spot. Now, knowing Tyron, who is actually very kind to single players like myself, especially wimps like me, I wouldn't be surprised if in the world setup there wasn't some sort of ability to make the number of respawns infinite. But I expect that on servers they will be limited to 20 respawns per temporal gear, and on servers you're much less likely to be able to keep your gear as I do on a single player world, and you're much more likely to die actually and to die further from home. So that's going to be an added jeopardy issue. Interesting. Sort of a little thing that the devs have slipped in. Now there's something else they've slipped in as well, and that is that many people on servers or in worlds where they have got their main bases near a wolf or a bear spawn will dig pits like this one over here. Yeah. And in those pits they will keep wolves or bears. Obviously for a bear pit it would be another block deeper. And they'll keep them there, and because they'll have a big pack of wolves in the wolf pit, and I had one in Pendle and we've got one near us on the Mystic Wind server, it will stop other wolves from spawning in the same area. So it's a way of making oneself safer by taking down the wolf spawning. However, that's now been nerfed, so that after 14 in-game days, wolves and bears despawn. Now, many people have got wolves in cages, they've got bears in cages, they've got pits with them in. 14 days they're going to despawn, the cage will be empty, the pit will be empty, and the predators will be prowling, guys. The predators will be prowling. Now, we've seen that drifters, or I've told you that drifters, will require a light level of 7, which is quite a lower level, to spawn, not the level of 9. But that has been balanced by a reduced chance of calmness. Now, one of the things I love, see, the moment rainfall in this area high, current rift activity very high, but when the rift activity is calm, it's wonderful because at night you can go outside, you can get things done, you're not being bothered by the drifters, and you don't have rifts forming everywhere. So it's very, very nice to get the lighting sorted out, etc. But the balancing factor to the drifters spawning at lower light levels is that the periods of calm are less. Now, I think that the softening of the clouds and indeed the softening of the sun is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. What a picture. That's beautiful. Let's talk about damage. I have been boiling up a crucible here, and let me just have a look. Look at the difference in the fireplaces now. Now, up till now, you've been able to walk across a lit fireplace with no damage, but now if you walk across a lit fireplace, you take damage. Just get these boiled up. Now, the other thing is, let's just come over here. I'm going to do 1 shovel mold and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, up till now, we have been able to walk through fire with impunity. However, that's now been stopped. If you walk across a hot mold, you are supposed to, yep, you do take damage. And if we walk across that's a tool mold, and if you walk across hot ingot molds, it's like walking hot coals, isn't it? Then you take damage. So lit fires, ingot molds and tool molds will all cause damage. And don't forget, if you've seen my video where I walked into the hot springs will also cause damage. So you can get a lot more damaged now. Well, I have covered death, drifters and damage, and my reaction to all this is that a lot of it's very sensible. I think that the death marker is going to be a huge plus, and it's something that a lot of people have wanted for a long time. I think that the lack of calm is going to be balanced by the fact, excuse me, I hope I'm not boring myself, I seem to be yawning. I think the lack of calm is going to be balanced by the fact that drifters will only spawn at a lower light level of 7, not 9. And that, I think, is going to be very helpful, because a lot of people have difficulty getting their houses lit up to level 9. So I think that's fine. For a long time, I thought it was odd that we didn't take damage when we walked across lit fire pits, hot ingot molds, hot tool molds. So to me, that change is just common sense. The one I am less enthusiastic is only having 20 goes at respawning with a temporal gear. Now, I looked and I don't see on the death notice when I died that anywhere it said you have X number of respawns before your temporal gear runs out. And if I look at C, there's nothing here that says you have X number of times before your gear runs out. I think it would be very, very helpful if we had something on the respawn notice which says number of respawns on this temporal gear X. Otherwise, I think we could find ourselves, you know, respawning on a server literally thousands of blocks away from where you should be, and that will be very, very annoying if we don't know that we're at the end of our temporal gear. Otherwise, I can see myself carving bits on the wall, you know, like prisoners do. 1 death, 2 deaths, 3 deaths. So all in all, I think that this rebalancing to me is very, very sensible indeed and very livable with. Bye bye, guys.